today's video is about kind of adding to an item that I purchased. A little while back at the Renaissance Festival, I saw this really cool Adventures of Blackbeard map. Anyway, and I've had it just sitting here for a while, and I thought, you know, I should do something with it. Well, here's the thing. It looks too nice. It's too fancy. So what I'm going to do is I have some distress stuff that I'm going to spray on this. I'm going to kind of try to age it a little bit. Hey guys, while I did this, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Blackbeard. I don't really have a technique as far as the distressing goes. Basically what I do is I have some distressing spray, I spray it on, I rub it around with an applicator, and try to kind of get different parts of the map looking different ages. Basically, this is a history of the brief period of Blackbeard the Pirate. And yes, I said brief. It's not very well known that Blackbeard was only a pirate for a little over 2 years. From the period of 1716 to 1718 when his death occurred. In 1718, Blackbeard met Benjamin Hornigold, who was a notorious pirate at the time. And Hornigold saw something in Edward Teach, or Edears Thatch, as some people say, and believed he could be a great leader. He felt he was charismatic, ruthless, and cunning. Later on, Teach would get his very own ship. This was a few months later, and he would become Captain Blackbeard, a name that would resonate throughout history. The first ship that he was given by Hornigold was named Betty. It was a simple ship with a simple name. Now, it wasn't until 1717 that Blackbeard would conquer a larger ship. It was a French ship named the La Concorde. He named it the Queen Anne's Revenge after the fact that he had taken place in a war called the Queen Anne's War. He felt it was a fitting name. Basically, he was taking back things from that war, essentially. Now, he would go on to raid well over 300 different ships with the Queen Anne's Revenge. It's a ship that everyone knows him for, but it would be only used for about a year or so. Some say it's even less than that. He would raid ships along the way and take what he needed. However, when he needed some medicine for his crew, he came up with a bold plan. He would weigh anchor in the port of Charlestown, which is now known as Charleston. It's over in North Carolina. He would try to attack any ship coming into the harbor or attempting to leave. Eventually, what he would do is he would take some prisoners and threaten to kill them unless his demands were met. He wanted medicine for his crew. Eventually, the demands were met, and Edward, or Blackbeard, kept his word, and he let the people go. Now, once he did this, he would continue on raiding ships and looting them until he had amassed a pretty largeable size of treasure. This is where things kind of get interesting. Now, Blackbeard was notorious for attacking and doing all these things, and he did have his morals, but he was also notorious for abandoning parts of his crew just because he felt like it. One of the people that he abandoned was Stede Bonnet. Stede Bonnet wasn't really a pirate. He was just a regular guy who basically kind of decided to try it out, I guess. He was captaining one of the ships when Blackbeard sent him and some men into town to try to acquire some pardons. However, what he did is he intentionally grounded Queen Anne's Revenge, took all of the treasure from it, and left on a smaller boat, leaving Stede Bonnet and the rest of the crew behind. He took the crew that he trusted the most with him, including a man named Israel Hands. Now, once he did that, he settled down in a town nearby and tried to give up the pirate life. He had enough treasure that he could live for quite a while off of that. However, eventually he returned to piracy. I'm not sure why exactly. There's never really anything that I've read that says why, but after a little while, he decided to go ahead and come back to piracy. Now, once it was discovered that he had returned, there was a governor named Alexander Spotswood, and he decided to take it upon himself to rid the sea of Blackbeard once and for all. he commissioned a Lieutenant Maynard to do this task. Now, Maynard was smart, kind of gathered some things about Blackbeard, locations, people that had worked with him, and he figured out a plan for how to attack Blackbeard the best. He waited until Blackbeard had made port at another place, and he knew that Blackbeard would stay on the ship with a few men, less than 20. What he did is, as soon as they made port, he waited a little while, and then he went with over 60 men and attacked the ship, which the ship at the time was called the Adventure. Now, when he attacked it, he had most of his men below deck. So Blackbeard really didn't see anything coming. Blackbeard started attacking the ships. He figured that he could take them because there were so few men in there. However, the rest of the men popped up from below deck once the battle had started, and not long after that, Blackbeard's life had ended. However, Blackbeard gets this reputation for being the most ruthless, most notorious, most tough pirate of all time, even though he had only been there for a short 2 years. What had happened during the battle is that it took 5 shots and 20 sword wounds for Blackbeard to succumb to his injuries. Once he was dead, they took his body, threw it overboard after taking a head as a prize. And thus ends the legacy of Blackbeard. Okay, so now that I'm done with the map, I'm going to go ahead and let it dry for a little bit, and then I will go ahead and show you what the final product looks like. The crazy thing about the Queen Anne's Revenge is that it was actually only discovered in 1996. They finally found the wreckage. They weren't really sure. In 2011, it was basically confirmed that it was Queen Anne's Revenge. There's still not 100% proof, I believe, that it was for sure Queen Anne's Revenge, but a lot of people agree that it is because it matches the same area where it was. A lot of the stuff that's on the ship matches the stuff that was said to have been on the ship at the time of the Queen Anne's grounding. So, and to this day, the things that they've recovered some cannons from it, and then they've recovered some writings and some other relics that have survived, but no real gold. The only thing that they've really found is some gold dust. No, not that gold dust. Actual gold dust. So, yeah. For so long, this ship just sat 20 miles off the coast of an area known as the Beaufort Inlet. Just 20 short miles. And it's finally found. I think that's really crazy. So anyway, that is a brief history of Blackbeard the pirate. There's not a lot I mentioned in this video because I kind of want to do another video just basically about pirates. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Blackbeard specifically because this map is dealing with Blackbeard himself. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let that dry like I said, and I will show you the finished product in just a second. Okay, so this is the final product. Maybe not final, but you can see here now that it looks like it's been maybe covered with sand or, just dirt along the way. I've kind of wrinkled it up a little bit. So it's got some parts here that are a little bit harder to read, which is fine, just because I wanted this as a piece to hang up on the wall at some point. I think what I might do is eventually I might burn some of the edges to make it look a little bit more ragged, a little bit more old, like it was maybe survived being on a pirate ship. And then I'm going to make some kind of frame for it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I do have an idea that's pretty ambitious. Hey, so I got a lighter, finally. I had to buy some so I could burn my edges. Now when I'm burning edges, okay Rogue, what's up? Rogue felt like saying hi or something. Anyway, when I'm burning edges on something like this, I try not to have it rolled up. Some people have you roll it up when you burn the edges for some reason. But I feel like that kind of gives it an unnatural look because basically everything looks the same because you have it rolled up. What I do is I start with the corners and I just give it just a little bit and I let it go for a while. And then I just let the embers kind of do its own work. Instead of, you know, cutting it off, I guess. Sometimes I just blow it out right away. And other times I let it burn for a while. Alright, so this ends up being the final result. We have a pirate map that looks very aged. And that is how you distress that. Now, like I said, I might put this in some sort of a frame. I have a little bit of an idea. But the reason I don't want to put it in a normal frame is because then I would basically cover up all these edges that I burnt off, which would kind of make that pointless, other than the fact that it was a little fun to do. Because it's fun to burn things. But don't burn things that you shouldn't. And don't burn Dixie cups in your kitchen bathroom, I mean your bathroom sink with a friend when you're like 13 or 14. Right, Mom? Yeah, I did that. I was bad. Alright. That's the video. It's over.